Hello everyone, welcome to OpenPlant Tech Tip Tuesday. My name is Abbas Ali Zaidi, and today we are going to look at how to create 3D piping components. These can be custom components, and there are a variety of ways in which you can create custom 3D piping components. So we will not be able to cover all the methods through which custom piping components can be created in this tech tip, but in today's session we'll just cover one scenario, and we'll follow up with the series of tech tip covering all the methods and techniques through which you can create these custom piping components. So let's begin. I've drawn some simple elbow pipes, a bunch of valves here, and let me just place some graphics here. And let me select cell file, and in this cell file I have a couple of valve graphics. So these are some fancy looking valves which are different than how we create regular valves. So let me just insert these valve here. So these are just graphics, cylinders, cones, extrusion solids. Using MicroStation, these graphics have been created, which represent a realistic valve. In this way, you can create any graphic for any of the piping component and create OpenPlant based component in the same fashion. So once the graphics are placed, how to create a custom piping component, we'll just select these graphics. Oops, not the flange, just the valve graphics, and go to a command called create new custom component. When I hit this button, I am presented with this dialog, custom piping component builder. Here you can see the discipline is shown as piping support. We'll select piping. In the component type, all the existing 3D classes are already defined here that are available in the schema. So we'll just select gate valve for this exercise. Can give rating as 150 pounds, and for main and run port. Now this connect point section gets auto populated. It leads the main entries based on your component type. If you have suppose branch graphics or T graphics, when I'll select the T class, I'll get main port, run port, and branch port. So let me just select the normal diameter. This is a very small pipeline. The end preparations, I can select that as flanged. And for facing, let me choose raised face. So this basically creates, just like we create custom equipments based on any user-defined graphics, in the same fashion, this process is creating a piping component. Now here I have a button called use spec data. If I choose this, I will link up this instance with any of the existing pipe spec records. All these values that I am manually entering here will be pulled up from this spec data. We will do that for our second exercise. For now, let me show you how we can do it without associating it with the spec data. So this can come in handy where there are instances that you populated as spec, but you haven't really created the draw scripts, or you want to use the graphics coming from some other libraries or vendors. So the first part is defining origin. So the first part is we can define the origin. You can define the origin of the component, then define connect points. So for this, notice the prompts here. It says define main port. So for main port, I'll select this point and so enter point for location, and let me choose the prompt is prompting to define the direction. I'll do that, and let me switch the view, and it's asking me to now select the point for location again, and then enter point for the direction of the second point, and I'll hit this. So this prompts that connect point definition is now complete. Once that is done, I can say that okay, create this custom component. Once I create, notice that the regular EC dialog pops up. It gives me all the properties of this gateway component. I can edit things here, add new description or any other property at this point. Since note that I did not link it up with any spec, so I'll get many blank properties here. At this point we can edit and hit modify component if you want to. So this way this custom component is now created. If I bring my mouse over it, you can see this component is now recognized as a whole as a gate valve, and I can choose to see the properties. And this is the gate valve with all the EC properties. So once the piping component has been defined, you can either create this in a cell file and directly place it from the cell. Notice that I initially placed just the graphics from the cell file, but we can or define the whole OpenPlant component like this way in a cell file as well, and directly place it from the cell file. So now we can place this component. We can choose this war valve, use place user custom component, and use this command to move this component around and then place it. Or like if it's a situation like this, we can just drag and place it here. Since our specification, we didn't really add any specification for our gate valve, but our flanges of using a particular spec, I get this dialog, but I can allow placement, and notice that gaskets and bolts are also placed. So I can place flanges on the other side as well, and okay here, and continue my routing from the other side. So this way custom piping components can be created and placed in a drawing. Okay, so for our second exercise, we'll just also place the same cell again. Let me just place the cell here, and just move it here. And from this exercise, we'll select the graphics, say create component, and this time we'll use the spec data. So let's again place a gate valve, and if I hit select use spec data, the program shows me all the half-inch gate valves that I have. Notice in this spec I only have socket weld and threaded female gate valves. So let me just select socket weld gate valve here, and all the properties are automatically filled up based on my selection of that spec. So I'll just define origin and the connect points in the same fashion. So let me pick up these points. And for the run port, so I'll hit the create component to complete the creation of the component. And notice that in this modified dialog, some of the properties are getting filled from that actual spec record, like piece mark and others. So in this way, if you selected the spec record, all the properties will get picked up from that particular spec record. And notice the flange graphics, although the graphics have these flanges, but this value is created as a socket and a valve because that is how it was defined in the spec. So this was one of the ways of creating custom piping components. We've started with a very simple method. In the future tech tips, we'll continue and build upon these methods and cover all the ways we can create a custom piping component. So thanks for watching today's tech tip.